In the year 1347, a silent killer arrived in Europe. Within just a few years, it would wipe out nearly one-third of the continent's population. Children vanished. Cities became ghost towns. The very fabric of society unraveled. But what if I told you this unimaginable tragedy helped spark one of the most creative explosions in human history? This is the story of how the Black Death led to the Renaissance. Before the plague struck, Europe was a tightly wound machine, rigid social classes, overworked peasants, and a church that ruled thought and soul. But then came death. Black boils oozed, fever burned, entire families died overnight. The streets reeked of decay. Funeral bells rang until they fell silent. An estimated 50 million lives lost. In some villages, not a soul survived. People thought it was the end of the world, but it was only the beginning of something else. When the dust began to settle, something strange happened. There were fewer people, but the same amount of land. Fields lay abandoned, lords were desperate, and for the first time, peasants had leverage. Labor was suddenly precious. Wages rose. Serfdom, centuries old, began to crumble. A farm worker could now choose who to work for. The balance of power shifted. Even land once hoarded by the elite was redistributed. Wealth changed hands. The old order began to crack. But with so few people to do the work, how would Europe survive? Desperation became the mother of invention. Doctors began organizing quarantine zones and experimenting with early public health practices. Dirty streets were cleaned. Bathing became fashionable again. On farms, tools were redesigned. With fewer hands, mechanization stepped in. Crops diversified. People began eating better, living longer. Ironically, after the plague. This era of necessity gave birth to curiosity, and curiosity is what fuels change. But the biggest change wasn't just economic, it was human. Imagine surviving the worst nightmare in history. Would you ever look at life the same way again? People didn't. They started asking, why did this happen? What is the meaning of life? And slowly, art changed. Instead of just painting saints and angels, artists painted people. With flaws, emotions, stories, themes like memento mori, a reminder of death, shifted into celebrations of life. New money from the rising merchant class flowed into the arts. Suddenly, painters, sculptors, and thinkers weren't just working for kings or the church, they were working for bakers, bankers, even former peasants. Humanism emerged, an idea that humans, not just God, held the keys to knowledge and greatness. This shift would become the beating heart of the Renaissance. The Black Death shattered a dying world, but from its ashes rose something bold, curious, and alive. A Europe where people questioned tradition, where knowledge was pursued for its own sake, where art and science flourished side by side. Without the plague, Da Vinci's genius may have never been funded. Michelangelo's sculptures might have stayed stone. The printing press may never have found such eager readers. The Black Death didn't just end lives, it ended an era and unleashed a new one. A world that once feared divine punishment began to believe in human potential. History is never just black or white. Sometimes, even in our darkest moments, seeds of light are planted. If you found this story as surprising as we did, give this video a like and subscribe for more hidden chapters of history you were never taught in school. And tell us in the comments, do you think the Renaissance would have happened without the Black Death? Thanks for watching, and remember, sometimes the end is only the beginning.